So in this lesson, we will learn how to work with inputs, because you will be working with any kinds of inputs all the time, from filling forms to text areas or filters and much more. Again, Cypress gives us a simple command to clear and type into inputs. And for this example, we will be using another great demo website called zerowebapsecurity.com, which is built only for test automation training. Again, it's not a live website, it's purely a demo website with no real data and functions. And we will try to fill and submit this login form with invalid values, and then we will check that the correct error will appear. So let's open our text editor. And for this example, I would like to create one more spec. And I'm gonna give it something like login.spec.js. So let's create one more describe. And let's give it a description. And in this case, we can use something like working with inputs. And then let's create a first step. And this one, but we should fill username. And let's first create our test steps. So second one would be should fill password. Then the step number 3 should be submitting the form. And the last step should be verifying that the error message appear. So something like should display error message. So save it. And this is how our test scenario will look like. So now let's start with the first, and that is filling the username. So let's go here to zerowebapsecurity.com/login.html. So you can see this nice login form. And let's inspect the login input. And as you can see, it's an input which has a few attributes such as type, ID, name. And for test automation, it's always best to use ID. So we will grab the ID of user login. And to fill the input, again, you will need to call sci.get. And now we are using IDs, so we need to use a number sign instead of dot. And a good practice is always to make sure that your input is cleared before you type anything into it. So as a step 1, we always want to call a clear function. It will actually make the input blank, and we are safe to type any value we want into that input. I know in most cases the input will always be empty, but sometimes it will not be, so it's always good to make this covered. And then let's do the same. And now if you want to type something in input, you can simply use function called type. And then let's pass the value. For example, some invalid name. So let's save it. And now let's do the same with the password. So let's now inspect the password input. And as you can see, again, we have an ID of user password. So let's copy it. And again, same pattern. First, let's make sure that the input is cleared. And then we want to type in something into it. So in our case, some invalid password. So that's it. We have our forms filled, and now we need to go to the step number 3, and that is submitting the login. So let's inspect this sign in button. And as you can see, it has a type, a name, or a value, or even a class. But I think it would be safe if we use the site.contains, and then we will click on the value of sign in. So let's copy it. And as the step number 3, we will call the site.contains, then paste the text, and then we will call the click action on that. And the last step is to actually check the error. So if you type something and just submit it, you can see that this error message will appear. So let's inspect it. And you can see that we have an alert error. So let's copy the class. And now we can do something like site.get. We will paste the class and we call the should. And now we can use be visible. So we want to make sure after we submit the invalid values, the alert error will appear on the page. So let's now save it and let's now try to run it. And as you can see in our example folder, we now have 2 specs. So in this case, we want to run the login spec. And as you can see, I have done a very silly mistake. And actually, this is actually a good example. As you can see, you have probably already realized it, but I forgot to call the visit function. So this is a great example. How does it look like when your test is failing from the beginning? And as you can see, all the steps failed because they try to find the values. But unfortunately, we didn't load any website. So never mind, let's quickly fix it. So of course, we need to do one more step. And that is should load login page. And here we just need to call site.visit. And let's copy paste the value, but of course without the error, like this. So make sure you have just 0 webappsecurity.com/login.html. Let's paste it, let's save it, and now the test should be working. So let's open the Cypress again. And run the login spec. And as you can see, the test is now green and all the steps are finally working. As you can see, we were able to successfully fill the input forms, and then we clicked on sign in, and then we make sure that the error message appears. So I think that's it. This is the very simple way how to do and work with inputs. But before we end, I want to show you one quick optional argument which you can use in the type function, and that is a delay, which will basically slow down the typing. So let's say you want to put the delay into the type function. So all you have to do is to use a argument of delay and then the specified number of milliseconds, how long it should wait between each click. So I will do just 50 here. Again, in real life production test, you will probably don't want to do it because this will slow down your test a little bit. And again, that's not a good way. Or you always want to have your tests as fast as possible. But let me just show you that you have the ability to do it. Because Cypress is very customizable, it allows you to do a lot of tricks. And if we click on login spec again, then you can see that the typing is much slower. Again, we can slow it even more, so it will be more obvious, but I think we don't need to do it. You already understand what a delay is and how to actually use it. If you want to do the typing super slow, just add something like 1 second and it will be very slow, so you can, for example, see what's being written inside that input. But I think that's it. We can safely end this video. You should be able how to clear and how to type into inputs, and we can move to the next commands. So see you in the next video.